Here we go again. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. You better affirm it one more time. Doesn't it feel great? All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me.
I'm always tempted to skip up here, and I think I'll probably eat it, so I should be safer. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to CSL. Happy to see all of you. Again, we want to thank Marilyn for our beautiful pre-service music. So nice to come in for that. Lots of good, fun things this week. So, Wednesday night service at 7 p.m. is Evensong. Very exciting. My favorite. Do you want to say anything, or do we know? You want to say?
Open into the presence within amazing song and silence. One of my favorites too.
Yes, and candlelight. Yes. This Friday, I'm reading it. It says this Friday. Genevieve Rose Mitchell in concert here. Friday, October 18th, 7 p.m. We'll take a love offering. So Friday night is Genevieve Rose Mitchell. And then dinner for 8 with me at my house, Saturday, October 19th. I put the address in the hall on the sign-up sheet. So make a note of that. I also put my cell phone in case you need me, but I assure you this time the Google pin is in the right spot. Talking Stick Review Board today after fellowship with Jeffrey in the Awesome Purpose Room, so listen for the bell. Next week, Saturday, October 20th, special guest, Reverend Anna Scott from Grand Junction CSL will be back, as Brenda will be speaking at their church in the morning. We will swap practitioners as well, and their music director, Barbara Bellany, will come to offer special music. Whew, it's going to change it up, people. Be ready. Okay. Also, very important, save the date right now, CSL Soul Feast fundraiser. I think that I would do that. Soul Feast fundraiser. Friday, November 8th. The $50 includes dinner and dancing to the Bell Creek Band, which is our own Ellen Hutto. So, very exciting. Okay. If you need all of that information, again, we have a handout on the table. So.
And this Friday with Janine has been to American Idol and back, and she has been a friend of our center since she was 8 years old, performing wonderful here and there programs and special occasions for us. And she has, since American Idol, been to the mountaintop and back, so all around the country and other places. So in any case, we really look forward to seeing Janine.
And she's fun. Oh, she's so much fun.
She is hoot.
Yeah, she's fun. So come for a great show, 7 o'clock on Friday. All right. We're going to put our purpose statement up here. Let's take a deep breath. We'll speak our purpose statement together. As an intentional spiritual community, the purpose of CSL is to be a living environment for individuals to realize that we are all unique emanations of God, the love intelligence governing the universe. We embody the truth of our oneness with God, and we consciously practice this truth in our everyday life. Through the exploration of new thought, ageless wisdom, and the energy of unconditioned love. We are dedicated to being individual transformation and to being a beneficial presence in the world.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the rush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
And as we feel this presence of Spirit right here, right now, I bring my attention to that inner silence, that place where I commune with Spirit. Please join me in that lovely, sacred space that is the essence of who we are. That place where life itself lives as each of us. That life is eternal, creative, and powerful. It is the source, the creation of all. And I call this God, I call it Spirit. And it expresses throughout creation in unconditional love, in wisdom, in goodness, in beauty, in peace, in harmony. And as we feel this presence, we know that we are one with all that is, that we are unique emanations of that one power, of that one love, of that beauty and that wisdom. And it is from this place of knowing our connection that we involve ourselves in this process of life. And I declare and affirm that we each choose anew to see ourselves as powerful spiritual beings, fully aware that we are blessed by Spirit in every way possible. And I accept for each of us an expanding awareness of our higher consciousness and the freedom to live fully from this essence of our being. And I affirm that this divine wisdom flows through each of us, guiding and directing as we follow our highest vision for ourselves. That through this energy, through this love, we gratefully accept our heart's desires, knowing that the limitless good of the universe is ours, that everything that is needed to express who we are, to express our deepest desires in all situations, are coming forth right now. That we are open to all that is possible, and we choose our perfect experiences, knowing that Spirit is at the center of all. We create a world that is a reflection of our inner beauty, and we create a world that works for the divine in each other. And in this gratitude for all that is, I turn my attention to the healing Spirit of God in the prayer request and the deepest desires of your heart, knowing that it is revealing itself in its perfect outcome. For each request, each person is guided and directed from that divine inner wisdom into the perfect solution, the perfect activity that fulfills the highest and best of their desires. And each request is already manifesting right now as we speak, as the fullness of Spirit is being made manifest. So we are blessed by the service, the staff, the volunteers, that all create this loving atmosphere for us to open to even a greater awareness of our own divinity and the divinity of each other. And we are blessed by the message, the music, the volunteers, and we are so blessed by the light that radiates from each other. So in great gratitude for this truth of our being, for the knowledge that we are powerful beings expressing our limitless good, I release this prayer into the law, knowing it is already so, that this word does not return void, as we join together and declare, and so it is.
Holy Spirit, within, help me to bloom into all that I am. Help me to love the whole of the world. I ask for beauty in myself. I ask for beauty in the world.
Good morning. Good morning. Such a beautiful fall day. And if there is anything on your minds and your heart that is keeping you from enjoying the blessedness of the day, please leave your worries, your concerns in the prayer chest, and the practitioner will be doing affirmative prayer on your behalf this week. The world will persist in exhibiting before you what you persist in affirming the world is. Emma Curtis Hopkins. And from Ernest Holmes, know that the power of the invisible spirit is working in and through you now, at this very moment. Lay hold of this realization with complete certainty.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you so much. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody?
Great.
Woo. All right. Woo! Okay, so I do not have a theme based on a book for the month of October. Our theme is the harvest, or our focus is the harvest. And I have a video today from Michelle Medrano from Mile High Church over in Denver. And her title to this is The Risk to Grow, the Courage to Grow. So let's listen to Reverend Michelle. Here she is.
Today I'm talking about growth. I'm talking about taking the risk to grow and having the courage to grow. And this message was, I created it before I left for my sabbatical. I was away for 40 days and came back last weekend, and I had some elements of it that I was working on, and other things happened during my sabbatical that really informed it for me personally. And I got really clear about the kind of growth that I'm talking about. And here's what I think is happening on our planet today that is challenging. I know there's lots of challenges we could look at, but I think overall, humanity is suffering the most from a lack of spiritual self-esteem. We have often been brought into this world and immediately given messages from the world we live in, from a lot of different places possibly. Might have been the family of origin that we came into that wanted us to have messages that maybe weren't necessarily mean or cruel, sometimes helpful, just about stay in your place. Don't be too much. Don't get too full of yourself. Don't think too much of yourself, Missy or Mr. Don't think you're all that. Be humble. Be quiet. Don't be big. Don't be loud. So you've got dreams. Be practical. And so that, and sometimes things we've gotten from friends and education and spiritual teachings might have led us to believe we were less than, that somehow there's God up there and we're down here and we're not worthy of God's love, and that's why we suffer. Some traditions have that message, though if we read the sacred spiritual texts, it's usually quite the opposite. We are loved beyond measure. We are considered to be an amazing creation of the divine and loved unconditionally and all that. But somehow what persists in our narratives about ourselves, our life, often is born out of, well, I'm not really lovable. I'm not really good enough. Or I don't even know if I'm worth it. This is a common struggle for humanity, and I call it a lack of spiritual self-esteem, because I can tell by our teaching and what we bring forth to the world, as do many other faith traditions and personal growth movements and healing modalities, it's all about the recovering and the reclaiming of that truth with the capital T, is that we are magnificent beyond measure, each one of us. And I imagine a world if we could but truly grasp and embody and live from that awareness of us. What might it be like? What happens for many of us who are struggling then with this spiritual self-esteem issue is that all the while this is going on, we have an urge to grow and to do more, to accomplish, or to bring forth our dreams for ourselves or for people on the planet, to make a difference, to be a part of something spectacular. However, sometimes our low spiritual self-esteem gets mixed up in that desire, and then the risks we take are born out of a lack of self-worth or a lack of self-love. One example might be, I feel this desire to be in a partnership with a romantic partner. I want to find the right person to share my life. And so I do this because I desperately need to prove that I'm loved and lovable. That's not very sexy, by the way. And here's the thing. It's never the dream that we're going for that is off. It's the how we're going for it versus I'm a spiritually magnificent being of life who has so much life and love to give. And I choose to share that with all the beings in my life and with a partner, a beloved on the journey. There's so many examples of this. If we look at what's really motivating us, sometimes what's motivating us is lack and limitation. And, well, I just need to prove to my parents that I'm good enough. Or I just need to show people I can really do this. Or I really need for people to respect me. The ego part of us, the self-identifying part of us, wants to know and try to prove and is always looking for, am I lovable? Do people want to spend time with me? Do I have talent or don't I have talent? Do I have gifts to bear? Oh, you say I have gifts to bear. Well, then it must be true. Versus the spiritual magnificence that just says, yeah, I know who you are. I know what you are. And that urge to grow is all about then shining and sharing the light. Shining and doing what that within us is inviting us to give back to the world. God expressed as us, in us, around us, and through us. Ernest Holmes has many quotes about this. My favorite is he says, there is an inner urge in our own mind to grow, to expand, to break down the barriers of previous limitations and to ever widen our experience. This persistent urge is a divine influence, an irresistible force, and constitutes the greatest impulse in human experience. Now, the reason that it takes risk to grow this way and courage is not the norm. And when we think about it, one way we might know that we've fallen prey to this low spiritual experience is if a huge part of what motivates us every day is to be normal. I just want people to think I'm normal. That's just too low. That's too low of a bar. First of all, no one can really define it, but it's just too low of a bar when we're meant to be the magnificent, unique self that we are. Why be normal? Normal's meh. Yeah. So if we feel that urge, that often is born out of that inner sense of pain, that wondering if I'm enough, I just want to be normal, versus I want to be my unique, authentic, God-expressed self. And it takes risk to be willing to do this because sometimes we think pretty big and we have some big ideas and big dreams, and other people will be scared for us that we're thinking too big and we're way out of our league and we're thinking too high of ourselves, high and mighty and arrogance and all those labels that we might be slapped upon, when all the while this urge within us is to step up And we see it in nature everywhere we go. But one of the things about taking on this risky way of growing is that it takes great courage, because what it demands of us is the breaking up of the shell of who we've thought we've been all our life. That ego state, while the ego isn't a horrible thing, we don't need to get rid of it. Often it's running the show, and the ego is made up of who we think we are, all the labels and identities we've taken on for ourselves, and it's also made up of all of our successes, and it's also made up of all of our painful, unresolved stuff. And if we're living from it primarily, and listening to it primarily, that becomes the nature of the creative energy that propels us forward to reach for the things in our life. And I, for one, would love to have that nature within me, that is the essence of me, really be the motivating factor more often than my unhealed past or my stuff. But it takes a willingness to break up the shell and let go of, and sometimes set aside, our old ideas of ourselves. But we see this happening everywhere. It's almost like, imagine that God, the divine, is seeking to inspire us by things like caterpillars spinning a cocoon, locking themselves in this icky stuff, losing their entire self so that they can burst open out of that cocoon into a butterfly and be transformed. Imagine the seed, the little seed that gets put into the darkness of the earth and covered up, and then bursts open and something breaks through the soil, and a flower, a tree, a bush, everywhere we look are the signs and the invitations in nature to say, hey, are you willing to be transformed by letting that shell be broken open? And acorns, think about acorns. These little round things that become these gigantic oak trees, similar to us when we allow ourselves to be broken open like that. I found this story while I was away that I just loved, by author Cynthia Bourgol. It's a French name. I know the Paris Olympics, you'd think it would have helped me pronounce her name better, but I didn't learn French that well. She wrote a book called The Wisdom Way of Knowing, and here's a story she tells about some acorns. Once upon a time, in a not so far away land, there was a kingdom of acorns nestled at the foot of a grand oak tree. Since the citizens of this kingdom were modern, fully westernized acorns, they went about their business with purposeful energy. And since they were midlife baby boomer acorns, they engaged in a lot of self-help courses. There were seminars called Getting All You Can Out of Your Shell. There were woundedness and recovery groups for acorns who had been bruised in their original fall from the tree, just like the inner child journey, right? There were spas for oiling and polishing those shells, and this is my favorite word in this whole story, and various acornopathic therapies to enhance longevity and well-being. One day, in the midst of this kingdom, there suddenly appeared a naughty little stranger, spelled K-N-O-T-T-Y, by the way, who apparently dropped out of the blue by a passing bird. He was capless and dirty, making an immediate negative impression on his fellow acorns. And crouched beneath the oak tree, he stammered out a wild tale. Pointing upward at the tree, he said, "We are that." Delusional thinking, obviously, the other acorns concluded. But one of them continued to engage him in conversation. So tell us, how would we become that tree? Well, he said, pointing downward, it has something to do with going into the ground and cracking open the shell. Insane, they responded. Totally more forbid, why, then we wouldn't be acorns anymore. Oh, I hear that cry in my own heart sometimes. I want to be that. And interestingly enough, while I was on my sabbatical, I took a class from a Buddhist monk, a woman who's was trained here in the U.S. and is now living in India, teaching, and her class was called The Death of the Ego. And I thought, well, that's really interesting. And so one of the things she suggested is that we do need to break apart the shell of the ego. This is not about getting rid of, as I said, or annihilating the ego self. This is about the beautiful dance of the oneness and the uniqueness of each one of us, of the unity and the diversity. Each one of us allowing our highest self to be expressed in its unique way. We all have a unique way of doing that. And so we can burst that shell forward. I love also the story about shrimp I learned in doing my research for this talk. I had no idea that they have their skeletons outside of their bodies and they have to discard their shells as many as 26 times in one lifetime because of their growing essence. In many ways, I see when we begin to do this, we let go of that ego self that's driving us around and surrender into that deeper self. We're letting go of that shell. And in this class, this teacher had us do a practice that I offer today. As a practice, it's a very simple practice that can just allow us to set that intention for remembering who I am and taking the risk to grow in that deep and spiritual way. She had us just put our focus down here on our lower part of our belly and breathe into it. And I found it fascinating that just like the acorn story, her affirmation is we just breathe silently and say, I am that. I am that. And we feel, often I feel, this expansive nature. We know that in the Old Testament, when Moses encountered God, the Bible says that God said, I am that I am. And other teachings talk about God calling itself the great I am. I am that. I am that. Because it takes focus and attention to turn our awareness from all this world of form and ego self into the true nature of ourselves. This is how we do it. And I don't want to, in any way, shape, or form, give us the impression that upon doing this, everything then just is rosy, peachy, keen, perfect in life. Because sometimes it's not. Because that work itself is transformative, and the breaking apart of the shell can feel like it must feel to that caterpillar when it goes into the cocoon. It's cocooning when we take on this spiritual depth for ourselves. It's the working to discover what's mine, who am I, what's the difference between that voice of the ego and that voice of the divine in me. But the more I practice, I am that. And then the more I stop seeing those moments of challenge and growth as negative things. It's discouraging to me when I hear people think that because something bad happens to them, that it's because God doesn't love them, or they're not lucky, or for gosh sakes that they have stinking consciousness or horrible consciousness about them. What if it is that I have made a stake and a claim for my life to be the highest and best version of myself, and in taking that stand, everything unlike that does not fit must be transformed, and some shells are gonna have to break in the process. Yeah, some letting go, right? This is what can be known and felt as divine discontent. This can be like St. John of the Cross, the dark night of the soul. This can be like what Joseph Murphy describes in The Hero's Journey. It calls us to do our work, But doing our work in this way becomes holy, sacred work because we know the outcome is the butterfly. And we trust the process. So we allow ourselves to develop our spiritual self-esteem through inner practices. I am that. Through our prayer meditation, through walking through these moments where the shell is being invited to crack, to cocoon ourselves and be willing to do that holy sacred work. And by reading sacred and listening to music, a lot of what I did on my sabbaticals, I listened to love songs. If you listen to love songs and imagine that God is singing to you, wow, break open the heart, right? And so it takes courage to live our spiritual magnificence. But some of the benefits become a natural sense of joyfulness, a sense of who we really are. Even in the moments where it doesn't go perfectly, a sense of delight that we showed up fully and completely, fearlessly. We took the risk. We had the courage. We learned a lot, and we move on. It is a connection with other people, a love and an honor and a sense of self-respect, true spiritual self-esteem. And I'd like to close with a quote, one of the most famous quotes from Marianne Williamson from her book, A Return to Love, that I remind myself all the time, and today I remind us, when she says to us, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. And she goes on to talk in this quote, and it's part of the book, about our spiritual magnificence. We are spiritual magnificence. Let us take the risk to grow and have the spiritual courage to expand and uplift and be fully alive.
Is within me. I am my way. All the wonders that I see, all the joy far beyond the God is within you. You are your way. Oh, wonders that you see. Oh, the joy you can know. Oh, the love that there is
As an original song, they did it.
God, you are every mountain. God, you are every ocean. God, you are every canyon, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every morning. God, you are every midnight. God, you are every moment, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. God, you are every sunrise. God, you are every moonbow. God, you are every starshine, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every springtime. God, you are every snowfall. God, you are every season, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. 'Cause you are the very breath I breathe, and your perfect love created me. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you.
Okay, as the ushers come forth, this is our time to consciously participate in the law of circulation. So if you'll take your gift or your tithe, whatever in your hand, and just know with me that from that unlimited abundance of the universe, I am supplied. That I just open my awareness and everything I need comes to me. And thus I share, creating that perfect circle, giving as I have been given. And our affirmation,
My words are charged with prospering power.
Sacred love live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. I am deepest joy. I am deepest joy. Deepest joy is all that I am. I am deepest joy. Deepest joy is all that I am. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place.
And these blessings,
Sacred love, sacred love is all that I am.
and these sacred gifts are gratefully received as they go forth, blessing our church, blessing each other, and blessing our world. And so it is.
With a grateful heart and a grateful mind, I offer this sacred prayer. Thank you.
All right. Reverend Michelle gave it to you, didn't she? Yeah. Thank you, Michelle. And we do have Talking Stick Review Board today. So, Jeffrey, where are you? Jeff will ring the bell when it's time to go up into the Awesome Purpose Room right across from the bookstore and have a lively discussion about the message today. So thank you, Jeffrey, for doing that. Once a month, people are loving that. Thank you so much. He came up with the idea and ran with it. So thank you, Jeffrey. Awesome. All right, where are we? I would like to welcome anyone who is here for the first time. Welcome to CSL. I know we have some refreshments and coffee and good conversation and friendships going on downstairs, so I invite everybody down for that. There's time for that first, and then he'll ring the bell after we have a little bit of fellowship downstairs. I can also help you if there's anything here you would like to pay for and use your debit or credit card. I can help you do that in the office after the service, so you can just see me for that. The bookstore is open if you'd like to take a meander in there. I did get a few more of the Four Agreements books. I know people were really wanting those, so I have a new supply of those happening. Also, I want to remind you about prayer requests. Down the steps and to the left is the prayer chest. Please, if you have an issue or a challenge or, anything happening in your life that's taking away your peace of mind, please put it in the prayer chest. Let go of that. Hand it over to God. And our licensed practitioner, Lou Kunzelman, will take all of your prayers home with her. And on her own spiritual time, she will pray on your behalf for the whole week. So thank you so much, Lou, for your service to CSL. Thank you so much. She just got back from retreat too, so you might ask her how that's why she's floating on cloud 9. I don't know why I'm floating on cloud 9, but I seem to be, so calm down from there, get grounded. All right, one more thing I want to remind people who are taking class that class starts this Tuesday evening. Can you believe it already? I have the class books. I'll have everything you need. Just come 6 to 8:30. I believe we'll probably do it up in the Awesome Purpose Room this time, so looking forward to that. Any questions, just ask me afterwards. I think we are ready to claim our good, so there it is. So one voice, CSL, let's all offer this up. Here we go. As I give thanks for the good now flowing into my life, I gladly share that good with others. The more I give, the more I receive, and so it is.
Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light, everybody please. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light, everybody please. Let's be reminded who we belong to be. We are love, we are one. One big family, hey, 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 everybody, get up on your feet, see the light, everybody, please. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light, everybody please. Let's be reminded who we come to be. We are love, we are one. One big family, hey, 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 hey. Let's make a joyful sound here.